Well, hello, and welcome back to the Paper Prison. This is your host, the Comics Prisoner, and again, we're going to be looking at samples of Xeroxes that I had made when I was an inker over uninked pencils. It's a nice time capsule to time 30 years ago, but also great examples of differing styles. And we're going to have a really nice change of pace this time because of what the title is. Okay, start off. This is samples, I shouldn't say samples, this is the work of Amanda Conner, who's a big name now. 30 years ago, around 1994, I don't know if she was a name, but she was definitely respected. Now, let me tell you the first time, before we get into these pages, the first time I ever saw Amanda Conner's art, I was actually working for Bob Downs, and Miss Conner had drawn issue 2 of a book that Archie was putting out, and it was them dipping their toe into a traditional action adventure fare, and it was called Bayou Billy, and it was kind of like a Swampland Magnum, or a Swampland Dukes of Hazzard, whatever you want. But I remember looking at it. Bob gave me some pages to do some beginning backgrounds, and I was looking at it, and it was so good. I was just thinking, wow, Archie's got a hit on their hands. This is going to be great because I think it was right at the whole death of Superman explosion. So I thought, hey, if any title has a chance here, it's Bayou Billy. But that wasn't the only feelings I was having, because I was just starting to get a little work as a background inker, and I'm seeing this person who's just coming out of nowhere, who I have never heard of before, and she is a fully realized penciler. I didn't see anything in there that looked, like a beginner. Give her a year and she'll be there. And I was thinking, oh wow, this is great, but she's my competition. But she's great, but she's my competition. But she's great, but she's my competition. Just going back and forth. I mean, it wasn't the first time I felt that way inking a penciler's work. But I mean, I was like, swerving wildly between wanting to be her most ardent fan and being totally threatened by her. But those other people that I was intimidated by were like, the veterans, the George Perez's, the John Burns, the Dave Cockrams, all of them. But this is a person who is just as new as I was, maybe even a tad newer, I don't know. And she was already there. She was already the competition. It wasn't going to be long before her name was going to be everywhere. And, sorry? And the proof's in the pudding, because since that time she's had a fabulous career. And I also want to say she had quite the pedigree. She apprenticed with Bill Sienkiewicz. And think about that. Amanda Conner apprenticing with Bill Sienkiewicz is like Bill Sienkiewicz apprenticing with Neil Adams. It's that kind of foundation. And boy, she showed it with every panel. And also, in this job we're going to look at, she not only shows ability and talent, but versatility. Because when you do a licensed job like Barbie, and this is what we have, we've got 3 pages here from Barbie number 17 that Marvel had licensed was doing. You have to hit the client style. And I gotta tell you, I'm looking at this, I don't think this was even then Amanda Conner's style, but she had to hit, this wasn't her style, this was Mattel's, model sheet, style book. This is what they wanted Barbie to look like. And she knew the assignment and hit it. And let me tell you, doing that is not easy. It's not easy to subordinate your own style to do someone else's. And I know some of you are thinking, well, what's so hard? I mean, isn't this like Archie? Well, no, this is not Archie. Archie has a house style. How do I know that? Because I tried to ink Archie. Bob was also inking some books for Archie, and I was inking backgrounds on that too. And he would give me Xeroxes of those, and I would do some samples, and I'd show it to him. He goes, that's not Archie. And I'm like, what do you mean that's not Archie? I mean, it's coloring book, right? No. Archie has a style, and they would not have accepted what I did. Same here. Barbie has a style, and the fact that Amanda was able to subordinate herself to that style is a skill all unto itself. So let's look at these pages. Now, I've said in previous episodes, as I show these Xeroxes and pencils, how I will lament that sometimes the backgrounds look blocked in, they're uninkable, they need to be tightened up, shored up by the inker. That's another thing I want to say here. The amount of precision in these pages. There is no ambiguity for the inker here. That really makes the inker's job a lot easier, and I thank you, Miss Connor. The backgrounds are just as tight and as clear and precise as the foreground figures. There used to be a joke that there's some people that pencil so tight you could just pour ink on the page and the inks would run into the grooves of the page, and while these aren't that bad, thank God, they are so precise. You're just doing a lot of work for the inker and helping him out. And the backgrounds are very solid and clear. There's just a lot of life and sparkle in the figures and the faces. Once again, she's probably hitting Mattel's model sheets, but even so, you just can't be like tracing photos, kinda. I think this was a great time for Miss Connor. This was a good, lucrative account. Anytime you get to work for Marvel, that's a win. I didn't ink the foreground figures here, just backgrounds. And you know what? I probably couldn't have inked this at that time because I sure couldn't subordinate myself. If I couldn't capture Archie, I certainly couldn't capture Mattel's model sheets and style books. As I've said before, these pages just speak for themselves. I'm gonna let you look at them. They're great and fun, and boy, I'm glad I made some Xeroxes of these. It's a great time capsule, especially when you compare it to her work now. See, this is one of the wonderful things about comics, is you get to watch an artist's development in real time. I mean, if you were able to grab like Bill Sienkiewicz's early, Neal Adams phase, and when he turned into, I can't remember his name now, Ralph Steadman. When he kind of turned into Ralph Steadman a little bit, that's no other industry or artistic industry do you get to see that happen in real time. It's almost like you're sitting in their studio with them, watching them work. So, well, I think I'm getting better at these critiques because I'm not umming and ahhing so much, and I'm able to get through them pretty fast. Maybe I'm actually learning how to do this thing. Like I said, this was great work for a client, and she satisfied the client. Remember, that's job one. You don't satisfy the client fires you, maybe pulls back the license, Marvel gets angry at you. You don't want that. So I suggest if you like this, go seek out some of Amanda Connor's other work. I know it's great, and it doesn't matter what I think, the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the sales. All right, well, next week we're going to step back into the Superman office and check out some, again, 30-year-old pencils from, this time, Mr. Tom Grummett. And where is he working in? Which title of the Superman office? I'll let you guess until we get there. So until such time, y'all be good to yourself, enjoy your comics, enjoy your art, because art is more important now than ever. The arts is what often lends humanity to humanity. And boy, do we need a lot of humanity now. All right. Y'all take care of yourself. See you next week, and bye-bye.